I'm sorry. I accidentally saw something I shouldn't have, and it's been weighing on my mind. She looked upset, and I feel terrible about it. The image is stuck in my head, and it's had a significant impact on me. My name is Taylor Mason. After graduating, I joined the workforce like many others. There's still a lot for me to learn at work, and my boss is quite demanding. I'm often scolded for making the same mistakes repeatedly. Mason, you've made another mistake. How many times now? I'm sorry. I'm the weakest performer among my colleagues. I've always struggled with managing multiple tasks, leading to more errors when the workload is high. I get yelled at constantly, and I can't help but wonder how it came to this. In university, all I had to do was understand the lectures, so my grades were good. In the real world, I soon realized that my expectations were misguided. In fact, I was just a low-level employee prone to making errors, and this realization filled me with self-loathing. One evening, carrying this emotional burden, I stopped at a convenience store on my way home and bought a microwavable meal, lacking the energy to cook for myself. As usual, I returned to my small apartment late at night, with no one around. Stepping through the door, I was greeted by an unexpected visitor, a cat. The feline appeared well-groomed, suggesting it belonged to someone. Before I could react, the cat strolled into my apartment. "Hey, you can't just come in like that," I exclaimed, but my neighbor's voice interrupted me. "Fluffy, come back," she called out, rushing out of her apartment in a warm sports bra. I turned to face her, rendered speechless by the unexpected encounter. The woman's outfit left little to the imagination, momentarily startling me. But once I saw her feline companion strolling in, her swift apology quickly set my mind at ease. Her cat had simply wandered into my space, and she was quick to take responsibility. "Oops, my apologies," she exclaimed, realizing she was only in her undergarments and feeling her face flush. "That's my furry friend. Let me get him out of there right away." With that, she scurried back into her home, emerging moments later, donning a hoodie over her activewear. I didn't want the cat to come to any harm in my space, but I also felt uneasy about inviting a stranger inside at night. "I'll try to retrieve the cat. Please wait here for me," I replied. My attempts to capture the feline proved futile. Catching a cat can be quite the challenge, it seems. Reluctantly, I had to request the woman's assistance. To my surprise, the cat willingly complied as she carefully retrieved it. "Sincerest apologies for the inconvenience. I'll make it up to you another time," she said, departing as the evening grew late. Her attire certainly was unique. The following Saturday, the woman returned, bringing along some delectable treats as a gesture of goodwill. Yesterday, I welcomed Julia Roberts, a college student, into my room. She seemed a bit flustered, explaining that her cat, Fluffy, had escaped to the balcony, and in the process had left her with some scratches. She was a bit embarrassed by her appearance, but I assured her not to worry about it. Cats can be quite mischievous, and their scratching habits can certainly take a toll on our clothes. As she was leaving, Julia's bag unexpectedly tipped over, and its contents scattered across the floor. I quickly moved to help her gather the papers, concerned about the situation. Despite the minor inconvenience, I appreciated Julia's visit and hoped that Fluffy was safe and sound. The university had sent her numerous notices about retaking exams. As I glimpsed the papers, I grew concerned about her academic progress and the potential impact on earning her credits. The sheer volume of re-examination requirements was troubling, raising questions about the challenges she might be facing in her studies. "Did you spot it?" "Yes, I'm truly sorry." I sincerely expressed regret. At this, Julia's face flushed even deeper than when she had been seen in her undergarments. She was on the verge of tears. "Everyone says college is easy if you attend lectures, but it's impossible for me. I'm just not smart enough." Overwhelmed with emotion, Julia collapsed right where she stood. It seemed her academic performance was severely poor, putting not only graduation, but even progressing to the next level in Jeopardy. She had always been mocked for her poor grades, and it appeared she had developed a complex or even a trauma about it. Well, if you'd like, I could assist you with your studies. Ah, no. You see, I attended the same university and took the same courses you're retaking. What a coincidence. Julia was enrolled at the same institution I had attended, making her my junior. Julia eagerly accepted my offer. It seemed she had tried seeking help from her friends before, but kept making the same mistakes, and they had given up on her. Based on the subject, there are certain strategies and approaches that can be helpful. If I could share those with her, perhaps she might find a way to succeed. So, we agreed to have a weekly study session every Saturday. After seeing the alarming number of exams she needed to retake, I grew increasingly concerned and couldn't stop thinking about it. I finished work, picked up dinner on the way home, and arrived a bit later than usual. I had planned to use our Saturday session as a break, but Julia's creativity and problem-solving skills exceeded my expectations. She consistently came up with solutions that left me puzzled. Clearly, our weekly meetings were not sufficient. As a result, I decided to add extra study sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Julia's place. This was also because Julia offered, "Let me cook dinner as a way to thank you for the study sessions." Teaching someone is a form of learning for oneself, so I made a conscious effort to explain the concepts that seemed challenging for Julia in a manner that was easy for her to grasp. Julia appeared to be dedicated to her studies in her own unique way, and her grades gradually started to improve. Becoming more aware of my surroundings led to a decrease in my minor errors. I was able to go through more days without being scolded and faced fewer challenging moments at my job. Then, 6 months later, I did it. I didn't have any resits anymore. Finally, Julia was freed from the hell of resits. Julia was able to understand the lecture after 6 months of study, and she no longer needed my help. It felt a little lonely, but I should be genuinely happy for her growth. Well done, you worked really hard. If you don't understand something, tell me, okay? Yes, thank you. The study meetings ended with that, but the habit of meeting for half a year didn't just disappear. So I had the chance to eat Julia's dinners occasionally, and I also invited her for meals. We also talked about things like what kind of company to work for and other life advice. A few months passed like this, and Julia was able to move up a grade. I was thinking of giving her a present to celebrate her advancement. Just as I was thinking about this while heading to work, there was something on my desk. It was a document, but not just any document. A personnel change, and I'm the new secretary to the president. I was dumbfounded by the document informing me of an unexpected personnel change. Suddenly, my boss patted my shoulder, and I jumped. "The president is calling for you. Follow me." With that, my heart was about to jump out of my chest. What did I do? I desperately tried to remember, but I couldn't think of anything. I made my way to the president's office with a stiff body. There were guests in the president's office besides the president. It seemed that I had been called to the president's office because these guests wanted to see me. "Sorry for calling you all of a sudden. These are the owners of Roberts, our business partners," the president introduced. I bowed my head. "Wait, Roberts? That's the same surname as Julia. What a coincidence." As I sat on the sofa as directed, the Roberts couple smiled at me. "Nice to meet you. We are from Roberts Incorporated. No, let's leave the title aside. We came here as parents to thank you and ask you a favor." The president of Roberts said to me. I was completely lost for words and just stared blankly. "Actually, the Julia you've been tutoring is our daughter. We heard that she was able to move up a grade thanks to your help. Thank you so much." No. It was all thanks to Julia's efforts that she was able to move up a grade. So, it turned out that Julia was the president's daughter. I had no idea. I was just surprised. According to Mr. Peterson, the CEO, Julia had her pride and wanted to fend for herself without depending on her parents. It seemed that she started living on her own because of this. "I heard about you from my daughter. I wanted to express my gratitude for everything you've done for her, and I apologize for the inconvenience. but would you please continue to help her with her studies?" he said. With these words, both the CEO and his wife bowed deeply in thanks. "Do you what?" "Please lift your heads," I protested. Being shown such respect by the CEO, a man like me, just an ordinary employee, felt quite awkward. After a few insistences, they finally raised their heads. Apparently, Julia had always had bad grades since she was young. She had received tutoring from various people, but it seems the only one who could make a real difference was me. Julia trusted me, and the ridiculous personnel change that made me the CEO's secretary happened so that it would be easier for me to adjust my work schedule. Our CEO was quite capable, so he didn't need an assistant. His permission allowed me to go to Julia's place at any time. I did not have the privilege to seek shelter from this situation. But why did the executive go to such great lengths? Was it solely because they cherished this professional connection that deeply? Interestingly, the executive and I have been close friends since childhood, what you might call best pals. I've known Julia since she was young, and like everyone else, I've been concerned about her academic struggles. The executive, noticing my confusion, kindly explained our relationship. It seems that when Julia was in high school, the executive used to oversee her studies. She managed to pass her college entrance exams, but ended up in a sort of academic limbo. Although my department has changed, my salary has remained the same, so it's a win-win situation for me, or at least it should be. However, this lack of a right to refuge has shown me the daunting power that adults with authority possess. It was agreed that I would be responsible for Julia's care, with the approval of both our families and the company. Julia's academic performance has improved somewhat, but I cannot let my guard down. The bond between us blossomed right after we advanced to the next chapter of our lives. Your assistance has been invaluable, and I'm grateful for it. Julia seemed a bit self-conscious at first, but I felt a sense of connection. We supported each other, and before long, she became my wife. Life can surprise us in the most unexpected ways. The woman I initially saw in a vulnerable state is now my life partner. However, Julia still seems more concerned about the numerous remedial notices than the memory of that first encounter. Playfully, she asks me to take accountability, while also requesting my help with her studies. Yet this time, the focus is not on academic topics, but rather on developing professional conduct and essential knowledge for working adults. The CEO was equally delighted. Who would have thought that Julia would grow so much? He is an exceptional individual who single-handedly founded the company and continues to propel it forward, achieving levels of performance that even a seasoned CEO would find challenging. But perhaps it's best to keep that information hidden away. Remaining unaware may prove the wiser choice. Living my life joyfully now, but the trigger that led me to discover Julia's retake notices was when Fluffy entered my room. In that way, I should be grateful to Fluffy for visiting my room. Meow. The matchmaker of our romance spent another day nestled under the warm sunlight.